You're listening to the Infinite Banking Mastery Podcast. Did you know that you could build a tax-free pool of wealth that's liquid and accessible all your life while building your retirement nest egg? Gain full control of your financial future and stop relying on the government and banks. The wealthy have already discovered this wealth-building secret. Now it's your turn to get financially secure without following the conventional wisdom that keeps you in debt to banks. Now here's your host, Valerie LaRocque.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening in. Thank you for being here. Today, I want to talk about the ideal savings tool, or to put it another way, the perfect investment. If you had to sit down and brainstorm ideas, and I believe that those on the list I'm about to go over would be a part of your list too. Coincidentally, these features happen to be among those in the living benefits category when talking about whole life insurance. First off, guaranteed growth. I would want my ideal savings tool to have guaranteed growth like with a guaranteed interest rate. And I'm not talking about a piddly amount of interest like something under 1%, which is what we have seen in our nation for years now when opening savings accounts at our local bank. Of course, now that interest rates are going up, there are higher interest or higher savings rates out there, but a lot of those higher rates come with having to lock in your money in a CD, a certificate of deposit. You have to lock it up. So wouldn't it be nice if I could get a guaranteed crediting rate on my account that would be guaranteed for the rest of my life all the way to age 121? Well, yes, it would be. Who wouldn't love that? Another feature of the ideal savings tool would be safety. I would want my funds to be safe, of course. Who wouldn't? And when I talk about safety, that would include safety from creditors. What if, when my child starts driving, he gets into a huge car accident, hitting like a top attorney and putting him in the ICU? I wouldn't want to be sued and depleted of all my life savings. Of course, hopefully, I have sufficient car insurance and umbrella coverage to take care of that person or persons harmed. Life insurance cash values are protected from creditors in most, not all, but most states. Another feature I would desire is liquidity. I would require access to my account and any earnings, as well as any dividends earned, income tax-free and penalty-free. We went over this in the previous episode, how important it will be to have access to funds, income tax-free in your future. So this would definitely be an important feature in my ideal savings tool. And the fact that I could access my funds and the growth of my funds anytime I want, that I don't have to wait until my retirement years. I can access my funds to help my kids with private school or college tuition, my next car purchase or their first car, or to invest in real estate or some other investment that I'm passionate about. I think another major feature would be that I would want there not to be any market volatility with my very valuable pool of savings, my life savings, let's say. I would save the market volatility for any dollars I felt comfortable putting at risk. And what if I was able to borrow against the full amount of my savings without the risk of having, say, a margin call, which is a risk when borrowing against a stock market account? Whatever value is in my account, I would have access to borrow against it. And when I take this loan, I would want full control of how, if at all, I pay it back. I think it would be awesome if I had the opportunity to pay interest only on any loans against my account. When directing savings dollars to a whole life insurance policy, you do have the ability to pay back any loans however you want and to pay interest only for as long as you want. Now, Nelson Nash and myself and any knowledgeable infinite banking practitioner would say that it's very important to the success of your banking system to pay yourself back and with interest, as explained in Nelson Nash's book, Becoming Your Own Banker. But you do have the option. And in times of hardship, that could be a real lifesaver. I will go into this more when I expand on the living benefits of life insurance in a few moments. How about no contribution limit as another characteristic of my ideal savings tool? I would want to be able to save as much as I wanted with no ceiling or cap. I wouldn't want to be restricted because of how much income I earn or because of other rules that the IRS has imposed. I would want my ideal savings tool not to have to be disclosed on the FAFSA form, the form for financial aid, financial student aid, when applying for college. I have children who will probably be applying for college in a few years, and I wouldn't want any of mine or their savings dollars to affect any potential financial aid that they might be eligible to obtain. I would want to be able to have my savings with a reputable company, maybe a company over 100 years old, let's say. And I would want my account to be inflation proof. Yes. And how amazing would it be to have an account that I have enjoyed the benefits of all my life, and hopefully in my retirement as well. And then when I leave this earth, when I pass away or graduate, my family would receive way more than the value that was in my account at the time of my passing, allowing me to leave a legacy to my loved ones, to my children, and hopefully to my children's children. Wow, how awesome would this be? Because if we are comparing this to an investment account, then your beneficiary would inherit that account and then have to pay taxes before receiving the difference, as opposed to receiving way more than what was in the account at the time of death, like what happens with life insurance. For example, let's say you have $500,000 in an IRA or 401k or similar vehicle, and you were to pass away. When that account gets handed down to your beneficiary, it is 100% taxable. And so your beneficiary will end up with less than the 500,000. As opposed to having 500,000 in cash value in a whole life policy at the time of your passing, your beneficiary would instead receive something like 1.5 million, tax-free. Of course, the death benefit is dependent on your age and your health and everything, so this is a rough example. Now, all of these important and desirable features that I have mentioned are benefits that come with whole life insurance. This exercise is something we've done at in-person events at Alpha Omega Wealth some years back. And it was, before coronavirus. And it was always a fun thing to witness these characteristics that people would shout out that they would want in their ideal savings tool or their perfect investment. And then be stunned when they realized there is a vehicle that exists with all of these characteristics. And that vehicle is life insurance. Believe it or not, I have even more things to add to this list when talking about the full range of living benefits. Another feature would be the ability to transfer the account or make a change of ownership if a need or desire for that were to arise. There is also something called the disability benefit rider, and this would allow your insurance to stay in force and accessible even if you were to become too sick or hurt to work and could no longer pay premiums. Another super great rider is the chronic, critical, and terminal illness benefit rider. This rider would allow you to tap into your death benefit if you were to have a chronic, critical, or terminal illness. Depending on what you're dealing with, the amount you would be able to access would differ, anywhere from 25% up to 75% of the death benefit. There's certain amounts per trigger. And you would have access to this amount, the death benefit, as soon as you made your first premium payment. So if you begin your policy and something happens, you already have access depending on how critical your accident was or what happened to you. And the chronic care portion of this rider is activated in the same way that a long-term care policy would be activated, which makes this rider just so much more valuable to me. Now, not all companies have this identical rider or all the features I'm explaining, but it's out there. So earlier, I was talking about how you could borrow against the full value of this cash value account, this savings account, rather than withdrawing the money out of your account. This feature is one of the most amazing characteristics of IBC. It is a big part of what really makes this strategy so powerful. So I will definitely go into this more in a later episode. But imagine being able to enjoy all of these features or these characteristics. And then one day, when you take your last breath, your savings vehicle delivers one final time and in a very big way, showing your loved ones just how much you cared for them. Now, at the beginning, I mentioned how this could also be described as the perfect investment. I just want to be clear, however, that life insurance is not an investment. And actually, I wouldn't want it to be an investment because investments can lose money. And that's the opposite of what I would want my ideal savings tool to be. Life insurance instead is an asset that many banks and big businesses, big companies have on their books. In reference to banks, you can look it up. It's called BOLI, B-O-L-I, bank-owned life insurance, as banks are one of the largest purchasers of life insurance. Well, I hope that you found this information today helpful in your quest for learning. As always, I would love to have a conversation with you to learn about your financial goals and concerns and to discover how the infinite banking concept might be able to enhance what you're already doing. You can reach me at valerie@alphaomegawealth.com. Until next time, have a great week and happy learning.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.